You used the word last time with Pat on the Zoom interview, and you said, and I looked up the definition. It says it's the behavior and emotion spread spontaneously through a group or groupthink. And then you also used the terminology, which I had heard before, courtesy of Eminem, which was the terminology called Munchausen syndrome.
Yes.
Right? Which he basically said he was do you remember when he talked about his, you know why he hates his mom so much, for all our hip hop fans out there?
Oh, she used to do this now?
That's his whole thing. He's like, why he hate, I'm sorry, mama, I never meant to hurt you.
Okay, I didn't know that.
He's like, he was a victim of Munchausen syndrome, that whole thing. Tyler, you might know this, you're a rap guy. And that's where you deliberately...
I used to know the line by heart, actually.
There you go, buddy. So you deliberately produce symptoms of illness so that people care for them, so you're the center of attention.
Yeah.
Are you saying that's kind of what's going on with the LGBTQ? Is you want to, it's almost like, don't do as I do as I say. Like, I'm identifying as LGBTQ or whatever it is, or trans, but I'm not really doing it behind closed doors.
So let me build on that. So thank you for that question. In 2010, I wrote a paper which I published in a medical journal. It was on Munchausen syndrome by proxy. And so let me describe both, and you could probably pull out that paper. Munchausen syndrome is exactly what you said, Adam. This is when I feign a medical illness in order to garner empathy and sympathy. That's Munchausen syndrome. Munchausen syndrome by proxy is even more diabolical. This is when I take someone who's under my care, my biological child, my pet, my elderly parent, and I harm them so that I can garner the empathy and sympathy by proxy. So by harming the kid, then everybody comes to me, oh, poor you, poor parent, you have this child. So a lot of the transgender craze from the parental perspective is a form of Munchausen by proxy, right? Look at me, I have a child who has, gender identity issues. So it's in that sense by proxy. It's that paper that I published in 2010 that then led me in the parasitic mind to diagnose the victimology currency that we see today in society as a form of collective Munchausen and collective Munchausen by proxy. The idea being that it is no longer the mechanism by which we ascend the hierarchy through meritocracy, right? I am the most accomplished professor, therefore I should get the big reward. Now it's, am I a bigger victim than both of you, right? And if I am, then I win, right? So
feel bad for me. Feel bad for me. You should feel the baddest for me.
Exactly. So I warned now nearly 2 decades ago, I've been warning people that once these type of parasitic ideas take hold in the universities, it's the end of science. Now, I don't mean to be the guy sitting telling you, I told you so, but I told you so. And let me explain how it manifests itself in academia. You could no longer now apply for a scientific grant without submitting as part of your grant what's called a diversity, inclusion, and equity statement, which I call in the book DIE, because that's the acronym, right? Diversity, inclusion, equity is where meritocracy goes to die, literally. Why? Because now we no longer adjudicate whether we're going to give you $300,000 to do your research based on the merit of your scientific research. Is your DIE statement woke enough? Now, what is the DIE statement? Are you going to be hiring transgender people of color? Is your methodology going to incorporate indigenous ways of knowing? It defies even Gad Saad's satire and caricatures, right? What does it mean to do indigenous way of knowing? There is no indigenous way of knowing. There's only the scientific method. Right? There is no Lebanese Jewish way of doing evolutionary psychology. There's just evolutionary psychology. There is no, is it Assyrian or Syrian?
Assyrian.
There is no Assyrian mathematics. There is just mathematics. That's what makes the scientific methods such a democratic epistemology. It allows us to keep our personal identities at the door, right? You just do math, you just do chemistry, you just do psychology. But now we're reverting back to the epistemological dark ages, whereby whether I get a grant or not is literally encoded in terms of how woke I am. I have a colleague of mine at McGill. He's a physical chemist. He's been denied 2 grants. He's a very serious scientist. He actually came to dinner. When Jordan Peterson came to Montreal 2 weeks ago, he also came to dinner with us, this gentleman. His name is Pat. He was denied 2 grants as a physical chemist. By the way, he's a brown person. I mean, much browner than we are. I mean, he's from India, Okay, so he checks the box of person of color. He's been denied because he won't play the woke game. So imagine how outrageous it is that in the 21st century, whether we give scientific grants to people is not based on the scientific merit of their grants, but based on how woke they are. It's grotesque. It's unbelievable.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.